Hey, this is Kyle Madsen with your top stories on Sports 1140. The Sacramento Kings got a much-needed blowout victory last night. They pounded the Magic 111-95 in a game that was not as close as that score indicated. De'Aaron Fox had a team-high 20 points for the Kings, who had 11 of their 12 players who played last night score points. Only Bogdan Bogdanovic, Justin Jackson, and Yogi Ferrell played more than 25 minutes, and that's huge because the Kings are right back at it again tonight on the road in Phoenix. It'll be their third game in 4 nights, and our coverage on Sports 1140 begins a little bit earlier than normal. Game night is set for 4:30. Kings Live is at 5:30, and tip-off is set for 6 o'clock. And the Clemson Tigers are your college football national champions after they blew out Alabama 44-16 in the national championship game. Alabama led 16-14 before Clemson put up the final 30 points of the game. It's 8:05. Time to get ready for the International Sportsman's Expo, January 17th through the 20th at Cal Expo. Get tickets at sportsexpos.com. Those are your top stories. And now it's back to the drive. It's time for the third hour of the drive. Show's flying by today on Sports 1140. Cage.
Rise and shine, sleepyhead.
I'm not letting you go to work today.
Wait, what?
Everybody, listen up.
Welcome to The Drive.
Morning, morning, morning.
You're gonna talk.
Get on the phone at 339-1140.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Jump in on our text line at 441140.
Everyone is talking about it. You must know that.
The Drive starts now.
Matt Barrows will join us from The Athletic in just minutes, and we will have our wrap-up on the 49ers season. We'll do the same thing with Scott Baird tomorrow, Sam Amick on Thursday. All at this time, by the way, at 8:05. If you're getting in your car or doing what you're doing, whatever it may be, we always appreciate you joining us on The Drive, 1-800-920-1140 and 339-1140 on the Firewings hotline, 21 different flavors to choose from. Firewings.com, just wing it. Want to remind you as well, as we see the numbers go up and up and up, and we appreciate you. The Sacramento Republic and Jiffy Lube are our proud sponsors of the video cast for The Drive. Go to cage2k.com, and you can watch us as well as hear us. Very simple there. And on the Cage2K YouTube channel, we have all the videos archived for you, so you can go back and watch any show you want. Video.
Shout out to Eunice.
Eunice!
Thank you.
You're welcome. Eunice does a wonderful job. A lot of stuff on the text line, though, to clean up before we get here. From the 408, I remember when the Healed Cousins trade went down, the so-called experts were laughing. Who's laughing now? I was a so-called expert. I hated the trade. I didn't like it. And I think you got to be a big person. You don't have to be a big person. I don't respect people that don't call themselves out in retrospect. If you're going to toot your own horn, you need to call yourself out.
It's okay to be wrong.
My personal views were wrapped up in there, and I get very attached to certain players. I was very attached to DeMarcus Cousins. A lot of it was just a storyline. I really wanted it to work here for him. I wanted that to be a retribution story. I wanted the Kings and the fans to be rewarded for being loyal to him, and I wanted him to make the growth he needed to make, and for him to be rewarded for the relocation and the 17 coaches and 81 point guards that he went through. We've rehashed that time and time again, but you cannot look at the Cousins trade, which got you in a position to draft De'Aaron Fox, which got you Buddy Hield, and which got you Justin Jackson, Harry Giles, and Frank Mason. You cannot look at that trade and not look at it as one from a straight. This isn't a rip on DeMarcus, from a straight Pelicans to Kings point of view.
Yeah,
it is one of the most lopsided trades in recent NBA history.
Yeah.
It is not Kobe Bryant for Vlade Divac's lopsided. But in time, we could be speaking it in the same sentence. That trade hasn't even happened 2 years ago.
Especially when you consider, and I know this is not in DeMarcus' control.
Sure.
But considering that he got hurt and was out for half the season in their playoff run,
yep,
they got half a season.
It was
DeMarcus Cousins?
Horrific, disastrous. I will tell you this, Kyle. One day, I believe in the next 5 years, there will be an article written. Or a think piece, or whatever you want to call it. And that trade is going to be a top 4 reason why New Orleans is going to relocate to Seattle. It is a domino that I think is going to affect a lot of things for years to come, including Anthony Davis joining the Lakers.
Okay, can I set odds?
Yes. I said
minus
retribution, by the way. I meant redemption. Thank you for pointing that out, guys.
minus 750 Riley McAtee.
Yes, he is the high favorite for that with the ringer.
Minus 650 Katie Baker.
Katie Bakes.
I've got Bill Simmons at plus 200.
Sure.
Which I like the odds on that.
Yeah, I do too.
I like that.
That's a good buy.
That's three ringer guys. Are there any prominent writers out of New Orleans?
Well, you got to get Matt Barrows. So while you think about
do.
that, let me tell you this. Yeah. Don't think at some point this year, later on, when everybody's blood pressures are down, and I only say this because I know Grant Napier's in Phoenix. I'm only saying this because Daddy Napier's in Phoenix. Don't think at some point I'm not going to revisit the fact that the Kings have the opportunity this summer, more than likely, to sign a free agent all-star in his 20s. That would almost certainly sign here if things don't work out where he's certainly at. And whether or not, now I'm not going to say who that is, but you can guess. And I think that's a question that needs to be asked this spring. You have the opportunity. Kings don't sign free agents. They certainly don't sign A-level free agents. Not A-level free agents. You have an opportunity, perhaps, to sign a free agent center, perennial all-star, depending on how things go this year. If that opportunity were to present itself, would you want that to happen? In other words, how would the Sacramento Kings look next year with this exact same roster if you added a free agent center? Everybody calm down. I'm not joking, but we can do that later. I want people's heads to explode when we're 20-20 in January and opening up a really good part of the schedule. There's still a lot of hurdles to get through between now and the end of the year. A lot of questions that we need answered before we even really, really talk about that. But let's just say, for the record, that everything I just said was Kyle's idea. And he's on the phone, so he can't fight that battle with me. 339-1140. Text us at 441140. Matt Barrows, as soon as Matt Barrows and Kyle stop having the off-air interview they're doing right now, Matt Barrows has been on with Kyle for 2.5 minutes. And Kyle is laughing. Well, Matt Barrows and Kyle just had a better off-air interview probably than we're going to have on the air right now. I don't know what happened, but all I could see was them talking and Kyle laughing a lot.
I dialed the wrong phone number. Here's exactly what happened for you. I dialed the wrong phone number.
Yeah.
And Matt said, hey, call me back on this other number.
Sure.
How'd you forget my phone number? And explain to me why I should remember it.
Yes.
And dynamite.
There's a very
really
nice.
good.
You didn't know about the Matt suffix?
No.
I won't share that publicly, although I.
No, don't. No, I was being as vague as possible on purpose.
I mean, I don't. Okay, I'm not going to, but I don't think people could figure anything out from it.
You definitely could.
You still have to get the first three numbers and the area code.
but that's.
I'm not gonna. I'm just saying. Let's talk about this for the next 10 minutes, not even get mad off. Joining us right now. I'm doing the same thing to him that you were doing to me. Joining us right now from The Athletic, the one, the only, from the University of Virginia, Matthew Barrows. Hello, Matt.
Oh, hi, guys. What's going on?
Oh, nothing.
Hey, Matt.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm very good.
Do you believe Kyle got the number wrong?
I really couldn't believe it. I'm like, he couldn't be calling my... I mean, this is why I have a landline.
Yeah.
It's not like I call my grandmother in... Connecticut. It's because of these radio interviews that I do with you guys.
Sure.
I want it to be, a solid connection. And here's Kyle calling my cell phone.
Oh, jeez.
I just wanted to make sure it still worked.
I
still have it.
And Matt's smart. Matt's smart because we have a lot of, there's a lot of people that do a lot of guest spots. And I just don't think it ever occurs to the guests to say, oh, you know what? I should get a good solid landline, something that won't go in and out.
A Comrex.
So that I sound, get a Comrex. Something, because then you're going to want that guest on more and more. Matt's very savvy, and that's why he's at The Athletic. Matt, you're no dummy.
I've thought this through, for sure.
You have. Matt, let's start out with the easy question and then move on to hard questions. The San Francisco 49ers season is over. Give it a letter grade.
Oh, Gee,
nope, that's
on
not
the
one of the
spot.
grades.
C minus, D plus. I mean,
Okay.
you know, you get to matriculate to the next grade, but we don't really have any high expectations for you. You're not going into the AP class next year. Let's put it that way.
Sure, and I would imagine that when somebody looks at the Niners' record and says Matthew Barrows, how could you say B or C? I mean, my goodness, I would imagine a good portion of that has to do with things that were not in the 49ers' control, such as the Jimmy Garoppolo injury, et cetera. You almost tempted to put a C/incomplete on it, and how bright the future perhaps looks.
Yeah, I mean, the future obviously hinges on Jimmy Garoppolo in that knee, and there was a picture of him dancing on a stage in Las Vegas recently with a rap artist, I forget who, but my point being, it looks like the knee is coming back strong, and if he's not on schedule, he's ahead of schedule. So that all bodes well. The big asterisk is that he still hasn't had a full season under Kyle Shanahan in that offense, and that's a big deal. I mean, it was a big deal for Matt Ryan. It's a big deal for any starting quarterback. So until he gets that equivalent of 16 games, and that will come around the midpoint next year, you're really not sure how it's exactly going to go. So that's the big unknown right now is how is he going to do coming off this injury? And basically with a half season under his belt of the Shanahan, the dense, complex, think on your feet Shanahan offense.
I want to jump over to the defensive side real quick because it seems to me, and I think everybody else, that this team badly needs an edge rusher. And the prevailing thought, and we've talked about this before, is that an edge rusher will help kind of boost some of the other talent on defense, especially in the secondary. Is there any chance in the draft that they go elsewhere with their number 2 pick?
I don't think so. I would be very surprised. I mean, there are scenarios where they trade down, but even there are just so many good edge rushers in this draft that you would think that they're trading down in order to get one of those edge rushers who are, in the late 10s, et cetera, wherever they're trading down. I mean, every time you switch on a bowl game the last 2 weeks, there's been one of these guys, whether it was Josh Allen of Kentucky or Cleveland Farrell last night. They're everywhere. And, whether it's that strong side linebacker spot or the Leo spot, there seems to be a guy that would be a very nice fit for the 49ers defense. So they certainly have a need at cornerback. They certainly have a need at wide receiver. But, boy, I would just be very, very surprised if it's anything but an edge rusher with that top pick, whether it's at 2 or somewhere else.
Matt Barrows with The Athletic joining us. You can read a lot of his stuff on The Athletic, including talking about rookies and their snaps in 2008. And one rookie, not to toot my own horn, but I told Kyle throughout the summertime,
God, I hate you so much.
Fred Warner was going to be an absolute stud for this team. And in fact, Mike McGlinchey, as you noted, led that offensive line in total snaps, but was 7 behind Warner, who led all rookies on that team with 1,060 snaps. Between McGlinchey, Warner, you got to throw Pettis in there as well, especially late. There's some rookies to get behind on this team.
Yeah, one guy you didn't mention, and I think he'll be in the mix, at least competing for a spot. Guy that caught my eye at the end was Marcel Harris at strong safety. Just was around the action a lot. He had one game, the game in Seattle, that was his first game, where he was a bit shaky, but that's all he needed to sort of get on track. And he was solid, dependable from that point on. To me, that gives them a little bit of wiggle room because Jaquiski Tart, if they had their druthers, he would be their strong safety. But he's fast enough to play the free safety spot. So I don't think that it's their first choice for a safety duo, having Tart at free safety and Harris at strong safety, but it's an option for this team, and that's what they're going to need going into next season are more options. Free safety had a lot of different bodies at it last year. 5 different guys started there. That you mentioned the pass rush having a bearing on how well the cornerbacks played. The revolving door at free safety is the same thing. You don't have any stability at that spot. How can you expect to have any stability among your young cornerbacks? So ironing that out, just settling on a starting unit, I think is going to go a long way toward improving that group.
Do you think they try and stabilize that free safety spot with like an Earl Thomas? I don't know. Just going to throw a name out.
I think they do. I mean, the thing with Earl Thomas is that he's going to have a lot of suitors, and the track record for some of these older players has been to join a team that they think is just on the cusp of the playoffs. Where else would you want to go when you're entering the autumn of your career, so to speak? But so that'll be the big challenge. I mean, are the Cowboys going to come hard after him? Are the Chiefs? Or some of these other teams? But I would think that the 49ers, at least when free agency kicks off, are going to be in the conversation for him.
Matt Barrows with us. Matt, in talking about Mike McGlinchey, I don't know how much better of a rookie season he could have had, but to just kind of help us solve, not an argument, but a conversation Kyle and I have had since college football ended last year. We both really strongly wanted Derwin James, and I'm obviously very biased in that scenario, but I'll ask you from a non-biased point of view, if you could go back in the draft today, and you could either have McGlinchey or Derwin James, would you stick with McGlinchey?
It's a great question. I'd have to think about that. Derwin James is sort of what they're missing on defense, which is not just a great player, but a personality, a guy who kind of lifts everybody around him. He would basically be a strong safety, I think, in the 49ers defense, and they have an abundance of strong safeties. They don't have that free safety. So it would be worth a conversation, but it's a good question. I don't know if I have an answer for you right away. Sorry.
Listen, it's one of those 6 and 1 and half a dozen of the other things, Matty, because I think both, as you kind of said, both are pretty tremendous. But I can't, as much as I love Derwin James, I can't. You got a guy who can help anchor that offensive line for God knows how long. Could the answer be they'd be fine either way?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's true. By the end of the season, you would talk to Mike McGlinchey, and it was as if you were talking to an 8-year veteran. I mean, he's got a maturity about him that few rookies have, and I think the 49ers sensed that during the pre-draft process. It's also notable that they played, teams like the Broncos this year, teams like the Chargers this year, teams that don't have one good edge rusher. They have two good edge rusher, and in the Broncos' case, they've got a whole position room full of them. So the idea that the great pass rusher is always going against the left tackle is an old notion. You've got really good edge rushers going against the right tackle, and usually the opposing team adjusts it so that Khalil Mack is going up against the guy that they think is the lesser pass protector, which this year was the 49ers. My point being, you've just invested so much money and so much of your hopes in Jimmy Garoppolo that it was a very logical and safe investment to draft Mike McGlinchey, and it worked out well. That first season, no doubt about it, that was a smash hit for the 49ers and for McGlinchey. He wasn't perfect. He wasn't one of the top tackles in the league, but he was close to that level, and by the end, he was one of the better guys on the right side in the league.
Are there any spots going into this offseason that you're looking at that you say, you know what, the Niners don't need help with that spot? Because they obviously have a ton of cap space. I think they're going to have 7 draft picks after their projected compensatory pick. Are there any spots that they don't really need to address in your mind?
Any team can use, a Saquon Barkley in their lineup, but I don't think running back is going to be a position that they're just, hot and heavy to get. Jerick McKinnon's injury was terrible this year, and it didn't allow Kyle Shanahan to do a lot of the things that he was planning to do, but it did allow him to take a look at some of these younger running backs, and all of them developed over time. Matt Breida, you can count on him to be a guy that gets 10, 12 carries a game. Raheem Mostert went from special teams only to a guy you can bring in there for a few snaps a game at running back. Jeff Wilson, he's going to get bigger, he's going to get stronger. His ball security is going to improve over the off season. He's a guy that you can lean on as well, and I'm sure they're going to bring in another late-round undrafted guy. Bobby Turner has become masterful at both finding and developing those types of players. So I think that they feel fairly confident about running back, despite the fact that they lost their top guy before the season even started.
So much at The Athletic for Matt Barrows and friends on the 49ers. All you could possibly want to not just wrap up the season, but look forward to the offseason. Matt, another year in the books. I think we're going on double digits now, and you know how I feel about you as a journalist, and always appreciate you taking the time to come on with us. And I hope we can check back in with you around draft time, of course, and should anything major happen with the Niners, that as well. But just honestly, appreciate you as always, Maddie, and look forward to next year if you'll have us back.
Well, and thank you very much for having me on. I should remind you, I am going to Mobile, Alabama later this month. Home of the Waffle House. So I'm going to be just rife with facts and observations. So please don't hesitate to Kyle would have to dial my cell phone at that point in order to find me. That's the one exception, Kyle, when I'm on the road.
I memorized your number just in time for this. Hey, fun fact about Mobile, Alabama, birthplace of the cell phone.
Really?
No,
you made that up.
Oh,
He made that up.
Mobile
Okay.
phone.
You know what?
The mobile
No
phone.
way
Get
that
it? The
any
mobile
technology
phone.
was developed in Mobile, Alabama.
You know what, Matt? This is what I have to live with, because you know what he just did there. He was saying mobile phone. It was right. Okay, so let me follow up with an actual thing here. Breaking news: even though Matt Barrows covers the Niners for The Athletic, I don't know if he wants to say this or not, but apparently going to Mobile, Alabama, I'm imagining this is for a deep dive on DeMarcus Cousins. That's where
it could be.
Yeah, that's where he's
could
from.
Be.
Okay.
I do know that he's from there. Jaquaski Tart. Jimmy Ward, also from Mobile, Alabama.
And Jaquaski Tart DeMarcus Cousins, and
Yes.
Eric Armstead all share some of the same management as well. I know they're people all run together, so a lot of little spider webs there, Matt.
Yeah, well, Marcus Thompson was told by Boogie that Boogie thinks that Jaquaski Tart was good enough in basketball to be a pro basketball player. Yeah.
Wow. That's high praise.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't, everybody thinks that they're good enough to be a pro basketball player, but when you get that from an actual NBA player, I think that's legitimate.
All right, well, will Jaquaski Tart quit the Niners and go into the NBA next year? I don't know, but if that happens, you'll hear it first from Matt Barrows at the athletic.com, where so much fine writing happens, all kinds of deals right now. It's so easy to subscribe, so cheap, and you can get it for a gift for your favorite sports-loving friend. Maddie, thank you, and we'll talk to you soon, my man.
All right, guys. Talk to you soon.
All right, take care. That's Matt Barrows in his final appearance of the what was the regular season, wrapping up the Niners. We'll do the same thing with Scott Bair. And as always, with both Matt and Scott, and probably especially Scott with everything going on with the Raiders, we'll wrap up the week-to-week conversations with them this week. But if anything breaks throughout the spring or summer or even late winter with either of those teams, we'll be having them back on. We will take a break. Cold, hard facts brought to you by Coors Light. And I got to open up this present from Eunice. And
yeah, I'm flying through my cold hard fact today, so we can get to the present.
And when we come back, I'll give you the lowdown, pun intended, on our big game party and the secret word coming out in just a few minutes. The drive returns shortly. Sports 1140 KHDK.
Hey, this is Kyle Madsen with your top stories on Sports 1140. The Sacramento Kings got a much-needed victory last night over the Orlando Magic, 111-95. That snapped a 4-game losing skid for the Kings. 11 of their 12 players scored. De'Aaron Fox had a team-high 20 points. Bogdan Bogdanovic, Justin Jackson, and Yogi Ferrell were the only players to play more than 25 minutes. That's huge because the Kings are right back at it again tonight. On the road in Phoenix, it'll be their third game in 4 nights in the second half of a back-to-back. Our coverage on Sports 1140 begins with game night at 4:30. Kings Live is at 5:30, and then we welcome in the G-Man for tip-off at 6 o'clock. And the Clemson Tigers are your college football national champions after they blew out Alabama 44-16 in the national championship game. Alabama led 16-14 in the second quarter, but Clemson scored the final 30 points of the game to cruise to a victory. You can only wonder what would have happened if UCF had been there instead of Alabama. It's 8:35. Time to get ready for the International Sportsman's Expo.
Ready.
January 17th through the 20th at Cal Expo. Get tickets at sportsexpos.com. Those are your top stories. Now back to the drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
To call the drive, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can also text them at 441140. They're ready to believe you.
No, we're not. I don't believe anything you jokers say. Sports 1140 KHCK, Believe This, is bringing you the ultimate big game dream party. Presented by Miller Afton Honda. Win a 65-inch TV. $2,500 in Lazy Boy furniture and a $500 gift card to Sprouts Farmers Market. Now, all this week, Monday through Friday, qualify 3 times a day. 840, 140, 340. That's AM, PM, and PM, by the way. When you hear the code word, which you will hear in about 4 minutes, give or take a couple minutes when we go to break, text it to 441140 or enter it at KHTK.com to qualify. All qualifiers this week will win a pair of lift tickets to Sierra at Tahoe. Must be 21 or over to enter. Details at KHTK.com. That's a fine prize. We don't know what the code words are. We truly don't. And I always love these contests so I can see the differences in what people hear.
Sure.
Yesterday was quite funny. What isn't funny, although sometimes it is, are cold hard facts.
Couldn't agree more.
Brought to you by Coors Light with our good friend Kyle Madsen.
It's time for the Coors Light Cold Hard Fact of the Day. Here's Kyle Madsen.
Oh, Kyle Madsen, just chock full of cold hard fact. Kyle, my man, what do you got?
I have 2 facts related to last night's Clemson blowout over Alabama.
Okay, I'm ready.
Do you know who the last coach was to beat Alabama by 16-plus points?
No.
It was Nick Saban at LSU.
Oh, great.
Hey, now that's a little trick question action for you there.
Let me hop on that.
Bet you weren't even, nope,
And
no thanks.
I hope this isn't stealing your next one, but the last time Nick Saban lost a game by 21 or over.
Man.
Is this yours?
No, fine. Fine. It's Dave's cold hard facts.
Can I finish?
Yeah.
The last time Nick Saban lost a game by 21 or more points, I don't know. And I wish you did.
Is that your fact that you didn't know?
It's not even a fact. It's a question. Like, I don't even know when that would be.
Well, Dave, let me educate you.
You know?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because apparently you don't know anything.
I don't know anything.
Gosh, read a book.
The more you know, stupid.
The last time Nick Saban lost a game by more than 14 points was December 17, 2006, when the Bills beat the Dolphins 21-0 behind 3 TD passes from...
Wait, when the Dolphins lost to who?
The Bills, 21-0.
This was what year?
2006. There's no way you get this.
E.J. Manuel. No. Tyrod Taylor. No. They were both like 18.
Yeah.
Okay, who?
J.P. Lossman.
Dang it.
I thought you were going to do the thing where you knew it, so you were going to say it, and I was going to go, wow, how did you know that?
This is what I was just going to say that. J.P. Lossman.
Well, like J.P. win, man.
Right.
Got him. Hey, open your present, but before you do that, it's time to call Sierra Pacific for this winter's best deal on a new furnace. Call Sierra Pacific now, not later, now. 800-551-3040.
I'm going to open it in the next segment because we don't have enough time. I will tell you this. I'll just piggyback a couple of your cold hard facts. Kyle, there are 353 Division I basketball teams. Only one has yet to play a road game out of 353. And that would be the Duke Blue Devils, who play their first road game at Wake Forest tonight.
They played a bunch of like neutral site games.
To be fair, yes, they have played in Hawaii and a couple
They
other
haven't just been
tournaments.
chilling it wherever, Durham.
Got him. Also, one last cold hard fact I put together, Kyle. This is a Carmichael Dave exclusive cold hard fact. The Kings, this is before last night's game, so I have not updated these numbers, so do your own updating. But the Kings going into Orlando's game had won 80%, exactly 80% of their games against below 500 teams. 22 of 43 remaining games going into last night are, in fact, against below 500 teams. So if they stick to that 80% win clip, but lose every single other game, they will be a 37-win team this year. They lose every single other game, but they just simply continue to win at the same clip they've won already against 500 teams. They will be a 37-win team, Kyle.
That's wild.
Is it really? I mean, is it why? Is it wild? Why? That's what you say? Wild?
If they lose all of their games except for their games against below 500 teams.
Yeah, lose every.
They would only wind up with 37 wins.
They would have 37 wins, but that's if they lost to every team above 500. They went 0-4 every team at 500 or above. Only beat the below 500 teams at an 80% clip. I actually
we have to go, but what's your new adjusted win total prediction? About halfway through the season.
Of course, accounting for no major injuries.
Yes. What's your win total with one really bad storm that delays one of their flights for one night on a road trip?
Oh. By the way, when I say below 500, that's their current below 500. 41.
Wow.
Yeah. I just being fair, looking at the schedule. That's assuming they'll continue to beat the below 500 teams. That's 37 wins. That means they merely need to pick up 4 wins against a team that's at or above 500. I think that's insanely doable. So, of course, they'll win like 4 games the rest of the year now. We'll take a break. When we come back, what is on tap, as a matter of fact? What is on tap? I don't know. And I got to open up this Christmas present from Eunice. It's large. I don't know what it is. By feeling it, I'll figure it out.
My present, I already opened it, was really, really cool. So I'm really excited to see what you got.
Okay. It's a drive. Sports 1140 KHDK. What's on tap? Brought to you by
Notebooks.
Tired of all that pesky ink on your arm or on the palm of your hand?
I am.
Tired of writing things down on paper but having them fly all over the place?
Yeah, like loose leaf paper.
Yeah. Notebooks. Not only can they fit in your pocket,
sometimes,
but also they have the rings that bind the paper together. Notebooks. Get one today.
I've noticed that you're not using a This Girl Runs on Lattes and a Dream notebook during the show. And I'm just wondering why.
Do you want to know the truth, or do you want me to make something up?
Make something up and then the truth.
Okay. The reason why is that as I was walking my daughter to the ball field for a game of catch, I noticed a golden retriever puppy
You were going to go have a catch.
Crossing the street. We were going to go have a catch. I noticed a golden retriever puppy crossing the street. A car was coming down the street at about 60 miles an hour. I ran in front of the car, saved the puppy, but I tossed the notebook that you gave me that knocked the puppy out of the way, and it was run over by the car.
Oh, and it probably, that makes sense. Well, I'm glad it didn't die in vain.
Did not die in vain.
Did you throw it in the garbage?
No. When you gave me your bag of treats, I went home, and my daughter, who is much like my chihuahua, who waits at the window, who is very excited when you walk in the door and has to touch, sniff, and rub everything that she sees, she saw the bag of goodies, and I put them on the kitchen counter, and she proceeded to take each one out. And like, my daughter was so enamored by everything I got from you. It was like the greatest thing. You got green chilies? Oh my gosh, can we eat? Like, that's why we had them.
Did you use the green chilies?
I did use the green chilies that evening, as a matter of fact. So she saw the notebook and begged me for it. And I said, she draws all the time. She's always doing
cool.
pictures and stuff. So last I checked, she'd already filled like 20, 30 pages of it. So it was, I figured.
Is that a real thing?
That is an honest to God real thing. Honest to God.
Well, I'm glad.
Real thing.
When I purchased it, I was like, I hope this doesn't just go in the garbage.
No.
So I'm glad that it's getting put
Everything
to use.
got put to good use, except we got to do the ping pong.
Yeah.
Speaking of presents, here we
Yeah,
go.
let's get to it.
So Eunice was nice enough to give me a belated Christmas present here. What is this? Something
Huge pack of
Well, it's like
cigarettes.
It's something black.
What's the tag say?
Oh, look at this! Look at this! Oh, get out of here! Are you kidding? You know, the toughest part of me talking about this now is I don't want to show up Kyle for his awesome gift, but I got to be honest.
Do you want me to pull mine out? To get my kid.
No, Kyle. I'd rather you did not. Ladies and gentlemen watching, this is where it's great to be watching on the TV.
Yeah, KHTK.com. Oh my gosh.
I mean,
Oh, are you joking me?
Are you kidding? Like, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, with the tools in it already. And the oven. Oh,
All right,
my.
So for everybody who's super frustrated that they don't know what's going on, that is
KHTK.com. Just go watch.
This may not just be a great gift. This might be the best Christmas gift I've gotten.
That is elite.
It is.
Do you want me to come take a picture?
It is. Yes, I do. It is a Sacramento Kings barbecue apron, the type that you put around your neck and then snaps around your waist. Hopefully she got the extended version. Yes, Kyle, if you wouldn't mind taking this pic.
I'm going to take it from the other side so we get the KHTK in the background.
I don't care what you do.
Okay.
Oh, my headphones here. This is great for just the audio listeners only. Yeah, take the picture. Thank you.
This is great.
Posing. Thank you. It is an apron that has the Kings logo at the top, and inside I have a mitt, a hot, the like an oven mitt. All right, that fits right here in this pocket. I have many a weapon, including this 3-prong fork that I will stab people with. I have a metal barbecue spatula, complete with the edge, which I can use to scrape.
An elite barbecue tool.
And I have the metal barbecue tongs that go with it, along with...
No.
I don't even know what this is.
No, that's not.
I don't think it is.
That's not a chef hat.
Oh, please don't.
Guys, I think it's a chef hat.
Is it?
That's what it is. Oh my goodness.
Hold on.
This is amazing. He's trying to figure it out. It's a gray chef hat that matches the kit.
Wow.
Stop it.
Wow. Okay, so like now.
This was elite. This is like Hall of Fame caliber now.
So here's kind of my issue. Little bit upset with Eunice. Because now I feel like garbage for the gift I got her. Like, this is amazing. I'm not just going to wear this barbecuing, right? I might just wear this around the arena. Now, I don't think I can get the weapons in. I don't think Golden One security is going to allow me in with the utensils. But I'll tell you what I could do. I can bring the mitt. I can bring the chef's hat. I can bring the apron, of course. Oh, there's a little spot in here even for a thermometer. But I can bring cowbells. I think I'm going to wear this to a game, Kyle.
Are you going to be Chef Cowbell?
Hold on. Excuse me. Let me make sure my microphone is up. I want everybody to pay attention to this great moment in radio history. No, Kyle. I will hereby be known as Chef Michael Dave. Thank you. It's on the fly, by the way. Off the top of my head, y'all.
Really good. Really, really good.
Congratulations to me and a sincere thank you to Eunice. What's on tap? Barbecuing.
The Kings are in.
And the Kings in Phoenix. Yes, the Kings will be in Phoenix. The Kings will be in Phoenix. Tonight, you can tune in to Sports 1140 KHTK for all of that. Kings looking to win their second in a row. Second night of a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. to talk all about that. My sincere thanks to Eunice, Kyle, Matt Barrows. Jim Rome is next. Sports 1140 KHTK. Bye-bye now.